Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to show you how to wrap a super complex looking spoiler that has a lot of shape and curvature, something that looks like this, in the easiest way possible, okay? And this is just using my own personal knowledge and experience, so I'm not calling myself a professional, but pretty decent amateur. And here's the wrap we're going to be using. Kelly Green. Like that. You guys get the gist. Ooh. So the specific spoiler that we're going to be working with in this video is a TRD spoiler off the 01 Toyota Celica GTS. And this guy actually is pretty reminiscent of a STI Subaru spoiler, and also really reminds me of how the Nurse Spec spoiler looked on my Stage 1 FRS. So to start, I think the best and easiest way is to just take the pieces apart and work on them individually. So in this case, this actually separates into 3 pieces, including the side mounts and of course the center deck lid. Now some spoilers that you're working with might have a third brake light, so you have to be wary of some of the wiring. In this case, I've already rewired these to fit on my 04 GT. I just don't want to cut any more wiring, and it's already fed through the holes where it needs to be. So I won't really touch it on that side, but I'll take this side off and then show you guys how to thoroughly wrap a super 3D looking piece like this that has just a lot of form.
And the paint on the deck lid wasn't in the best shape, so we've prepped the surface.
I don't got it. Got my soul on the road. You screaming stay. Baby, please don't go. Don't think it's in me to listen to foe. It's so different with distance we roam in the zones where nothing can hurt anymore. I just wish I was home.
So before we actually get to the wrapping, you want to make sure that the surface of whatever object you're working on is clean of any light dust specks or debris. So we're going to be cleaning the surface using isopropyl alcohol and the green side of a regular dish sponge. This is really if you don't care about the quality of the paint underneath the wrap, which in this case I don't. Ideally you'd be using a clay bar, but I don't have one here, so work with what you got. Plus, if you guys look outside, this is middle of May, Canada. Well, Calgary specifically, but what the F, man. Me and Shane parked both of our cars. Well, I have all my cars outside. This wasn't supposed to happen. So involuntary snow day means we get to stay home, and that is totally fine with me. Let's wrap the spoiler. You're only really going to be using this for some of the stubborn areas, and if you do want to use a sponge, you can do it on regular paint, and all you really have to do is buffer it after. If you really think about it, the sponge is acting like really soft and light sandpaper. It's really just more for stubborn areas and dirt that really can't come off. Alright, so once you have it all cleaned up, we're ready to lay down our first piece of wrap, and we're going to be starting with this inner part. If you're not like super careful with a knife and you don't have the ability to cut on top of paint, you do have the option to use knifeless tape. And this guy will make your life so much easier. So there's particular edges on the spoiler that we're going to be following to help us create the illusion that this thing was wrapped in one piece. But let me show you guys how I plan on laying down the knifeless tape.
What you want to do when you're laying down liner's tape is follow the contour line of the piece or object you're wrapping. This is really only if you're doing it in multiple pieces.
So the idea is we're going to be doing this piece in 3. It'd be better to do this bottom part first. That way when we put the other layers on top of it, it'll be hiding that edge.
And for some cars, especially bumpers, inlays are essential. You're gonna need more than one piece. So the end goal is to overlap the previous piece to hide the white part of your wrap's edge.
We're just gonna cut a piece that is similar to this shape, make it easy for ourselves. And here's the wrap we're gonna be using. Kelly Green. Gonna need a heat gun, a knife, And that's pretty much it. Let's do this.
Some wrap colors are much easier to work with. In this case, the Kelly green I'm using is insanely forgiving, so overheating it won't discolor it that quickly, and I'm able to stretch it into this big curve by slowly working it with occasional heat and just my fingers. Now here's an easy way to use the liner's tape. You want to make sure you leave yourself some slack at both ends. This is just in case the tape snaps or breaks. Now start at the most comfortable end, where you know you can get some good leeway, and fold the tape in half, right where the wrap starts. Now slightly tug it, not too fast, because you also don't want to be pulling the wrap upwards. You just want to cut it. Imagine you're using the string like a guillotine, and pull it as horizontal to the object as possible. And once you've made your way from one end to the other end, make sure you hold the other side of the tape down. That way it doesn't accidentally pull up the corners of the wrap. And then from here, you can just peel off the wrap and take out the excess tape from underneath, push down slightly on the edge, and then heat it to seal it for the next part. Really clean bottom piece. And if you notice where I placed my cut line, it's because we're planning on overlapping the next pieces of wrap at least several millimeters from the contour's edge.
Now we can move on to this inner piece. So I decided to make a small template for myself, just so I know how much vinyl wrap we're going to be using and what shape it is too. So far we've only used two pieces, one on the bottom and one on this inner part. Even this crazy curve here is doable, just takes patience and a little bit of finesse. Now all we have left is this side and the cover piece that goes here, which I'm thinking we're going to be doing in carbon fiber. There's a reason why I made the curve go like this instead of make it straight like this, because I'm just simply following the reflection curves that are already on the spoiler piece. So this curve was naturally there, as well as this one. Plus, once it's all put together, the edge will always be sitting underneath some sort of shadow. So far, so good.
For the last outer part, I've laid down some more knifeless tape, and to get it as straight as possible, I've lined the outer green part of the knifeless tape to the edge of the first layer of wrap. This puts the cut string a few millimeters over the first layer, and also this is a sure way to prevent any dirt or dust from finding its way underneath.
I could never get replaced. Don't need you to save me, but I just really need to be saved. I'm just so sick of waiting for any luck to come my way.
At this point, don't be scared to overheat the wrap. The goal is to stretch it enough to set it over the knifeless tape we've put down. And some wraps actually need a lot of heat. It's once you get to the multicolored wraps, like neochrome, chrome wraps in general, or any of the wraps that have a design on them or a texture like carbon, that's when you have to use twice, even 4 times the heat just to be able to stretch the piece. Luckily, one color gloss wraps are fairly easy to work with for the most part.
I'ma paint purple cause blue's overrated. We all outdated, we all so jaded. We all lost love like love's our savior. It's a dark place when it's all about the paper. Cocking pretty cards before they deal you something heinous. I've been steady sitting on my I'm so contemporaneous, in love with my behavior. But really, I could probably try and be something greater. Fuck it, I'm my favorite. You could tell me something different, but I probably wouldn't listen. No, I probably wouldn't listen. You're worried that's the ego, scared it's taking over. But fuck it if it's fun to run my tongue up on these road fronts. But I know I could lose it all if I'm not careful. I sound scared, hope you feel that my heart's there though.
Don't need you to save me, but I just really need to be saved. I'm just so sick of waiting for any luck to come my way. Yeah. Feel good, be good, stay good, live good. I could feel good, live good, die good. Lingering inside my headspace, turning minutes into hours into days.
Now there's many ways of setting corners for particular wraps, but what you see me doing right now is I'm creating relief cuts so that it's easier for me to get it around this super aggressive area. And also these relief cuts actually help prevent the wrap from tearing in unwanted places.
Feel good,
So now we got both end plates,
stay good,
sample.
live good.
This is what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
Okay, here's a tiny tip.
If you want to help prevent the corners on the inside from lifting up, you can just dab a tiny bit of super glue, especially on the corners. You can do this with clear tape as well. I tend to do this in areas where I know that the vinyl is likely to lift up.
So that's it. All of our pieces are now wrapped. You guys gotta look at it like it's a puzzle and kind of gauge your object and see what kind of shape you can get away with. This is where pre-cut vinyl and like some wrap companies actually sell those pre-cut shapes for any car and any piece, because I think it's easier if you have the actual shaped out silhouette like what we did earlier with just spare paper. It really just makes wrapping obscure shapes like this guy go a little more smoothly. And then special print material like the carbon that we used for the deck lid and the side covers. You have to keep in mind that there is an extra layer of print on this, so it does take a little more heat to get it more malleable. It does have a higher chance of discoloring, so you guys gotta be careful. All right, let's put this thing back together, bring it to the garage, and see what it looks like installed on the Celica.
Damn.
This is actually so clean. I'm just gonna take a photo for the Instagrams. All right, let's bring it to the garage. Yeah, this is how you wrap your own complex spoiler. And I'm sure there's way more complex spoilers than this, but what I'm saying is if you can wrap something this complex and with this much shape to it, you can probably wrap anything. Looks good.
Thanks.
Cheers. And also, if you notice, we got the windows tinted earlier while I was wrapping the spoiler at home. So front is 25%. Oh, okay, 20% in the front, 5% in the back. I was like 20% in the back. This looks pretty dark. Sunny was here, helped me get it tinted. Actually, both Sunnies are here. Man, we gotta name you guys something else. It's so hard now that we have two Sunnies here. Both of you guys look all the time. One wraps and the other wraps.
Man, I got bars.
So limo tint on the back, 20% in the front. I like it. Probably the first thing we're gonna get pulled over for on this.
Then you just put all your windows down.
Yeah, but that's like all the time. Alright, I'm gonna just end this video, guys. Appreciate you for watching, as always. And if you want to get updated on when new videos come out on this channel, hit that sub button with notification button ticked. Drop some likes, leave some good vibes in the comments, and we'll catch you guys on the next vlog. Peace.